And folks, we hear all kinds of stories. I don't know if it's this time of the year or if it's any specific time of the year, but certainly now there is a number of things around the home that do require looking into. And one of those very important items is your comfort, and that's your heating system. And we have a story that was brought to us by a homeowner that has used our services in the past. That's the Shalbuzzy House Smart Home Services. But, she had a circumstance come up, and the issue brought us back into discussions with the homeowner. And her name is Terry, and I'm just very simply going to ask Terry, Terry, tell us your story. How did this all come about?
Okay, Mr. Bussey, on Saturday, November the 14th, at like 2 o'clock in the morning, my furnace made this awful sound and conked out. Was unable to get it restarted. The pilot light was definitely on. So went without heat for the Saturday, the Sunday, phoned the company that I had used in October to come in and do a servicing on my furnace. And unfortunately, it was the company that the previous homeowners had used. So I thought, okay, they know the furnace.
Right.
So I phoned them on Monday, and they said, no, we're way too booked up. We won't be able to see you till December the 4th. But they gave me a number of another company that they recommended that might be able to see me sooner. So I said, fine. So I phoned the other company and on the Monday, and they said, well, we won't be able to come in until the 19th. I said, okay. So went without heat up until the 19th.
Unbelievable.
The gentleman came in and looked at my furnace and said, it's unfixable. And I said, excuse me? And he explained that the computer board and the motor had gone, and it would be approximately $1,600 to $1,700 to get it fixed, but I would probably have to wait at least 2 to 3 weeks to get the part.
Good grief.
To get the parts. But he could put in a new high-efficiency furnace for anywhere between $5,000 to $6,000, and not including taxes. And so I said, well, that's a lot of money to spend right now, any time of the year. Just let me think about it overnight. And he said, well, maybe we can make it a little bit little bit of a deal for cash. And of course, that just set off alarm bells.
Quality, yeah.
So I said, no, just let me, that's a lot of money to have to come up with. Just let me think about it. So the Friday, I phoned Morgan just about in tears, and I explained to Morgan, who works for you, wonderful gentleman. I explained to him what had happened, and he said, he said, we have a phenomenal company, Bakerview. I'll contact them. He said, but since it's Friday, they might not be able to get back to you until Monday because it's a weekend. I said, that's fine. I've been without heat this long.
Gosh,
I can deal with that. So I think I phoned Morgan about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I got a call from Bakerview, a Corrine, at about 2 o'clock, 2:30, saying that they could send somebody over that evening to fix it, but unfortunately I couldn't because I had an appointment that I had to go to. So she said, well, how about if we get somebody out there Monday afternoon? I said, that would be wonderful. So on the 23rd, my savior walked through the door, Sean. He came in and he looked at the furnace, and I explained to him everything that had happened to me with this previous company. And he said, just let me look at it first. So within about half an hour, he didn't have to replace any parts. He worked his magic, and he got the furnace working, and I've had no problems with it. And I kick myself for not phoning you earlier.
Well, I can understand why that didn't happen, just because of the referral to a referral. And, so many people, I'm sure, would possibly do the same thing, Terry, because of the people who had the home before and had the furnace maintained by this particular company, and to you, it made sense. Why not phone them? But it's just amazing how this sort of thing can transfer into a tremendous amount of money.
Well, exactly. But, and then he said, well, if you pay, maybe we can work out a deal for cash. Well, that just set off alarm bells. And I just, I just felt like I was being played for a fool, because as a woman, I don't know a lot about furnaces, etc. And he said, the previous gentleman said, your furnace is older and, they don't last very long, and it is time to get it replaced.
Selling furnaces rather than selling comfort at the time and getting you looked after as a customer.
Exactly. And when Sean from Bakerview came in, and I asked him about a new furnace, and I explained to him, that what the other gentleman had quoted me, he just shook his head and he said that their top of the line is, maybe about $4,000. So, and then they would probably be able to do, do a better price once they knew exactly what I would need it for. But just kind of off the top of his head.
Right.
And and when I had talked to Corinne, like, she was so wonderful.
Isn't she a nice lady?
So caring. Oh, she was so caring, and she felt so bad about about not being able to get anybody out there. And I was going to be without heat for that weekend. And I have never had service like that before. And Sean was absolutely wonderful, and he worked his magic and got my furnace working.
Well, Terry, that's exactly what we as Shell Buzzies House Smart Home Services really are wanting to do. We want to react proactive, be at the time. To first of all, we have an understanding with our service trades that they are not in any way to take cash. That is not a way of saving money, saving taxes. We have to maintain that status quo of quality and credibility, and they know they're out there wearing my hat. So when we have trades become part of our home services, you can appreciate I really have got them on my shoulders at all times. And people like Morgan working in the office, he, as well as our daughter, know that name, Shell Buzzy, is to be protected. And I really want to say how pleased I am that we were able to help you out, and you did at last come around and say, well, I always have used Shell Buzzy Home Services. I'm going to call them. And I think that really makes me feel this absolutely wonderful that you would do that.
But I am kicking myself for not phoning your company right away. It would have saved me probably 7 days of coldness.
Exactly, and also the frustration in not knowing if it was going to cost you more than what you had originally planned on a service call in any event. So,
right, and as I told Sean, if I do need a new furnace, I have no problems. Well, if I really do need one.
Yeah, exactly.
But if I would prefer not to have it. I mean, if he could have gotten the furnace working, it would be better for me financially at this time.
Right.
And he was just so wonderful. Everybody I've dealt with, and I have used you in the past, and every company I have ever used through you have been amazing.
Well,
they have.
I really appreciate those comments, and those comments mean an awful lot to us here at the office. It's something that we look very much forward to, helping out the consumer. And we are not in the selling business. We're in the referral business, and the referral business, in order to be a member of our referral, they have got to be with an understanding that they are out with a criteria that has got to be checked. And people like yourself, Terry, I appreciate it so much. I want to thank you so much for giving us your time and bringing this forward, because there's too many services out there in the industry today that are not there to sell, not there to make comfort. They're there to make money. And that is not the name of our business. Our business is to, first of all, service, become competitive, and take care of the customer.
Well, I have certainly relearned my lesson, and anything I ever need, I will get through Shell Bussey, and I will never use another furnace company again. I will use Bakerview.
You know, you bring up a very good point there, and let me at this particular point say, for the benefits of those that will be listening to this podcast, and that is, even though you've used our membership for a referral, always call the office first after you've used one of our service trades. And the reason for that is that we keep track and we follow up with you. We follow up to make sure everything did go as well as we want it to go. So therefore, a lot of people use our internet, use our website, but even if you do, always call us first, and then we will in turn say to them, you've been there before to this home. And that way, if there's any change in the company, because companies are being sold today, and if companies are being sold, then you want to know that there are new people, and certainly Bakerview, they're a family name. They've been around for many, many years. So thank you so much again. I really appreciate it, Terry.
You are so welcome, Mr. Bussey, and thank you for having such a wonderful service.
Well, thank you.
As a single woman, your company is invaluable.
Well, you have a great holiday period, and a very, very Merry Christmas to you and all.
You too, and to Morgan, and to your daughter Monica, and to all your wonderful family.
Thank you.
And all your listeners.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You bet.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.